Hello everyone, I am Bets Golden. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time arriving, thank you so much for visiting, arriving. What am I talking about? I sound so professional and I'm not. All right, so yesterday I started this page and it is my Bible verse for, it's my art journal Bible study. And I am concentrating on the book of Mark right now, and I am in chapter 1, and it is verse 36, 37, very early in the morning. It was still dark. He got up, went out, and made his way to a deserted place, and there he prayed. So I showed you guys how you can use alcohol ink on a gel press plate yesterday. And I added a stencil, and that's what we got. So today I thought I would just finish the page with you, and I'm going to add a sky to this. Now, just so you guys know, I do not actually do my Bible studies out of this Bible. This is strictly my art journal Bible, because by the time I'm done with it, sometimes I can't read it. So, because I have gotten questions on, well, what do you do when you want to do your Bible study? I pull out my other Bible. That's what I do. This is just strictly a time for me to praise and worship God. And so I do that in this Bible. And today I am going to be using a lot of water on this. So what I did, and what I always do really to prep my page, is I laid down a layer of clear gesso, and that basically creates a barrier so it won't bleed through to the other side. Because as you can tell, there's no bleed through, and that's because I have the gesso down. And if I wanted to take that a little bit further to make sure that like something like this doesn't happen, I could go ahead and pop this in as well. But I'm not gonna, because I really don't mind. So let me take this moment to say, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I hope that you consider doing so. Just hit that subscription key and then also hit the little bell for notifications. And then if you have any questions or comments throughout the video, please make sure that you ask. If you enjoy it, give it a thumbs up, and if you can share it with anyone who you think would find it valuable, then I hope you do that as well. That really helps me out. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do before I start to lay down my sky, and I'm using a color burst sky, is I need to cover up these pieces because I don't want them to get saturated with what I'm going to do. So I just took a circle cutter, put some pixie dust, stencil spray on the back, and I'm just going to line this up. I really don't care if it's like too perfect. In fact, if I have some of that showing, that's actually not a bad thing. I'm okay if that gets a little bit, you know, wet with sky stuff. So I just let that pixie spray dry a bit, and I'm gonna just press this out, and then I stamped an image roughly to that. So now I can go ahead and start to lay out my color burst. I like to get my page a little bit wet first. That just helps my color burst stay in the same spot. And I'm just going to start to build just a scene here. So I put down, I'm starting with the solar flare, and this is actually, I think this is his galaxy set that he came out with, that Ken Oliver came out with. So I'm just going to just kind of work it up, do the lighter on the base, and then get darker as I go towards the top. So again, and as we add water, this will start to spread out even more. And that deep space is super dark. And along the way, if you're noticing, hey, you know what, that's too much for me, or that's too dark, you can always go through with a paper towel or something and pick up some color. You are not married to it. It will lighten up if you do pick up color. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just lay down some more water on this. And then I'm just gonna take my blower that I was using on my alcohol ink and blow it up and out a little bit. And as this dries, the vibrancy won't be as much if that's something that concerns you. Personally, I like it. And if you want it to move a little bit more, you can definitely add some more water and whatnot. And then once you get it in its right space, you can use a heating tool to set it. And I think I want a little bit more down here in this corner. So I'm gonna just do some of that solar flare down here. And then, there we go. And also something else is if you want to blow this around and set it at the same time, use your embossing tool. If you want to set it and you like where it is, I strongly recommend this tool. It's the Heat It tool. Oh my God, I love this thing. And I'm about to that place where I kind of like it. Like I want to get the edges. I just want a little bit more covering on the edges, like so. And then I'm just going to take my heating tool and start to dry it. Pretty much has dried. I took my heat tool to it. Now, there's something I want to tell you about this technique. Color burst, I highly recommend on watercolor paper, at the least a mixed media paper. And the reason is because it is an extremely wet medium to play with because you saturate it with water. For this particular page, I did lay some clear gesso down to protect my page and get it more so primed for my art. I was not so concerned with the bleeding through, but I didn't get like up here with the gesso or around the edges. I used a just this to clear it. Now what that did was it caused some of that color burst to seep through the bottom. This doesn't bother me because this is not my Bible I study out of, but this is what it did. And it went through on a couple pages. To me, this is cool. I'm actually very excited to see this because this is going to allow even more interest and fun things in my Bible journal as I go along. So I love stuff like this, but if this is not your thing and you do not want to make that much of a mess in your Bible, then save this technique for a piece of watercolor paper and perhaps slip it into your Bible. I just wanted to press it just to let you know that before we move any further in this. But you can do this whole technique that I'm doing on any substrate and it will work, as long as it's, you know, porous and it can allow things to seep through. All right, so from here, I'm going to take some glossy accents and just add some stars on this. So I'm just going to, and this is what really brings your galaxies to life, is these white flecks. And it's important that your paper is relatively dry before you add these, simply because if it's wet, it'll get soppy and it may not be as vibrant white. And this is these glossy sprays that she has out are absolutely fantastic. So I'm pretty happy with this. I do want to go over and highlight some areas. Like I'm going to, let me remove my masking that I did. I'm going to outline a lot of this just so I can have some definition, and I'm going to put in my journaling as well and things like that. So make sure that you stay tuned. At the end, I will show you the pictures and then you can see what this final page looks like. All right, you guys, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, I'm Beth Golden. Happy crafting.